Hello. We are going to give a definition of a commodity versus differentiated production. A commodity is any good that is interchangeable across producers, and by that I mean that it doesn't matter which farmer, made the product. There may be differences in the quality across farmers or producers, but it generally does not matter who produced it. And let's take an example. Corn. There are various standards on its production. For example, the standards are that it meets number 2 yellow corn, and then as that grain comes into the elevator, they would measure such things as moisture, foreign matter, weight, etc. But in general, those differences don't matter in the end to the final user of the product, or they can be blended together or number one of other things. But in general, corn from one producer versus another producer, 2 farmers bring their grain into an elevator. It doesn't matter after it's in there who produced it. Most agricultural products are commodities. So let's give a couple examples of agricultural commodities. Corn, soybeans, wheat, pork, beef, most vegetables, and fruits. If you're buying it in a big grocery store, you don't know who produced it and you don't care. You go into the fruits and vegetables section, you buy fruits and vegetables. You don't know who produced them. You go to the milk or the dairy section and you buy milk and cheese, and you don't know who produced it. So that is what makes a commodity. And as you can see, if you go to the grocery store again, most agricultural products are commodities. One further example, take a loaf of wheat or bread. The wheat in there is generally a commodity. What the manufacturer of wheat does is try and brand it a little bit, perhaps by listing their name and maybe an advertising on it. But the wheat going in there is the commodity. The manufacturer may try and does try to differentiate it somewhat. If we look at corn and soybeans in Illinois, they typically are commodity-based. Corn and soybean are produced, are commodities. There are some differentiation that attempts to go on, but most of the corn and soybeans produced in Illinois have GMOs in them, Roundup Ready resistance or glyphosate resistance, as well as several other characteristics. But there is a small amount that has some tracing back to the farm gate. A differentiated product then there's a continuum, and we gave some examples here. Gmo Free Soybeans, all right? Gmo Free Soybeans is different from the commodity soybeans, and it has to be kept separate from commodity-based soybeans. But you still don't know who produced it. There is some differentiation. So, and the same would be true for organic production, specialty crop production. The final example there is grain-fed beef, and it might be grass-fed beef. It could be either one of the two, ordered online and delivered. There you know, and you can trace from the producer to the end. And in those differentiated products, there's a degree of traceability, and that matters. So, commodities, you don't know who produced it, and it doesn't matter. And then we get into some differentiated products where the who produced it does matter to some degree, and then maybe to a total degree.